In a world where Bob floats upside down and Jeb tries to straighten him out, we get Kerbal Spake Program, better known as Kerbal Space Program. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome to the first of many, the first episode of the first season of Kerbal Space Program. Season 1, you might ask? Lots of firsts. Season 1, you might ask. We want to colonize Duna. I don't know if you guys have watched this TV show on Amazon Prime. It's called The Expanse. Kind of what I want to model this first season after. They've got colonies on Mars, and like they've colonized, they call them the Belt region. Any other planet outside of the inner planets, outside of the asteroid belt. So that's the goal for this playthrough, or for this season of this playthrough. I have other goals in mind, which we will get to later. But let's start her up. I don't even know what to call the save. Oh, start a new save. So I'll just show you what kind of settings I'm playing with and stuff like that. So save name. Uh-oh, my flag. I've got to change my flag. I do have a custom flag that we'll put in here. Post me recording this video. We'll just call it The Expanse. Don't copyright me, Amazon Prime. So, a normal difficulty, except for missing crew does not respawn, because that's kind of lame. Starting fun, sure, all that stuff. Lots of random stuff. I got a lot of mods over here. We'll talk about those here in a second as well, and my reasoning as to why I use the mods. So, sit back, relax, enjoy. I present to you Sqroots Space Agency, and I do have my flag. A little flag right here. Yay! So, flag set. Sqroots Space Agency is set. So let's talk about some mods real quick. I'm gonna try and do this live and see if I can rattle them all out real quick. So, biggest one I have, Community Tech Tree. That adds a ton of science. And base game science, I know if you played KSP before, which I think this series is tailored towards people who have played KSP before, you know, the tech tree stops like around here at your 300, maybe some 550 science, 1 or 2 800s. You can get all that done staying in the Kerbal system, and I really don't like that. I like being challenged. So some of these sciences are just a little ridiculous, like 28,000 to research this science. What do you get? Ooh, yes, the light drives. So, season 2, we're looking for some of this stuff. Anyway, community tech tree, and with that comes a lot of parts mods that fill in these branches. Some of them don't have anything, some of them are hidden. Like this one's got hidden ones, stuff like that. These are all hidden. We got a science mod that just tells me when I can collect science. We have a couple visual mods, just the normal. We have mech jab, which I don't plan on using all that often. I don't even know where it is down here. I think I have to be flying. Anyway, that's just for coupled with persistent rotation. It really helps satellites. You can point them at the sun. So the problem I have is like my solar panels drift away, and then, you know, all of a sudden your probes aren't losing or are losing electricity, and you have big giant solar panels on them. They're just being blocked by their craft. So like in real life, they will always point towards the sun, so they can sun track. And then personally, 2 of my favorites are ScanSat and Remote Tech. Those add a lot of challenges and a lot of missions to the game. And setting up relay networks is probably the hardest thing in this game. I actually have a series, or started a series about that, if you want to go check it out. Link is in left corner, right corner, middle, somewhere. I'll put it somewhere for you guys. And then other than that, we just have a couple science editions, and all the other mods I have a lot. There's like 60 or 70 downloaded in here. I'll put this will be the only episode where I put all the mods in the description. But those guys are all dependencies on these main mods that I wanted to have. So, without further ado, we'll get into the gameplay. So, this beginning part, everybody's done it. It's really boring, so I'll probably just fly through it and talk to you guys as I'm building this thing to leave the launch pad, or perform experiments around KSC, or do some science. Yeah, these are all the generic ones that we'll just get started. That way we can start doing our remote tech ones, like the network for Kerbal, which will probably be episode 2. If you just want to skip ahead and skip all the boring stuff, I wouldn't hate you for it. Episode 2 is really where we're going to kick off and kind of go over setting up these relay networks for remote tech and doing a lot cooler launches, let's say. So I'll catch you guys on the flippity flip. All right, so for the first launch, we picked up 2 contracts. One of them is to launch a vessel, another one's to collect science from the ground, from the launch pad. So that's what we'll try and do here. Making the tiniest little guy you've ever seen. He's got a little shrimp on him with some science. And an antenna, because since we're playing remote tech, you need an antenna even if you're on the launch pad. So one crucial error that I didn't realize right here, slowly fade to when I do realize, is I also need power to power that antenna. So, oops. So we figured that out, and then we'll go collect our science, do a little launch, maybe have an explosion on the way back down. I decided to name these series the Erebus. I forget why. Let me see if I can look it up real quick. Erebus. One of the primordial deities in Greek mythology, born out of primeval void, also known as chaos. So very apropos to this series in general, and the fact that little rocket survived on the way down, which is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. Anyway, so we picked up from this oodles and oodles 13.7 science we earned. Picked up beginner rocketry so we can get some liquid fuel going, and that will power us through our next contracts, which is suborbital trajectory with Erebus 2. This one will end up collecting more science. Just leave myself a little note about what Erebus 1 was and how much I loved him. But for Erebus 2, we're going to go with the liquid fuel that we just unlocked from the research and development, so we can get a little bit more oomph off the launch pad, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. I thought about sticking a thumper on the bottom there, or maybe it wasn't a thumper, I forget the smaller size, but I thought better and just stuck 2 boosters on the side. We'll definitely get a suborbital trajectory with that. I just wanted to make sure. And these beginning rockets are so cheap that, overkill doesn't really matter. Plus it's KSP, so overkill's the best. We did remember the batteries this time. That way we don't have a little oopsies and some slick editing by Sqroots to make it all a-okay. Just check and make sure I got everything, and then we'll send ourselves on our way. The reason I do multiple mystery goos, or when we unlock Science Juniors, I'll do multiple Science Juniors, is because I do not have a scientist with me, obviously. One of my mods that comes with the community tech tree is probes before crew, which makes it a little bit more realistic. Just you wouldn't send a guy up there your first mission. Sometimes you send probes first. So that's why you don't see Jeb make an appearance yet, but he will be out soon enough. So this first launch, I didn't go so well. I flipped, so I decided we're just gonna go straight up and come straight back down next time, and this is what you're seeing now. So definitely got suborbital. I think it went by quick, but I think it's something like 400,000 meters, 400 kilometers, something like that. Gave me plenty of time to collect my science, and I had just enough electric charge to kind of transmit it all back down. And hopefully we turn into a ballistic missile on re-entry and it wasn't as eventful as I had hoped, but we spear straight into the ground nonetheless. So I went and checked out some more of my science. So went through and looked at Engineering 101, ended up getting it, and we ended up eventually getting flight control. So Engineering 101 will add some structural pieces, and flight control gives me SAS and RCS and fins, which will come in very handy, kind of, in my next mission, which you'll have to see here soon. I also upgraded the mission control center so I could hold 7 contracts instead of 2, I believe is the minimum now, or when you start. That way, there's the next couple missions, I can start picking up more and more money for every launch, and money's always great, even though it's pretty easy to come by in KSP, but, you know, the more the merrier, they say. So we're going to start building Erebus 3 here, and we're going to get ourselves a gold little Probo-Dobo, and see if we can't make it a 2-stager. Which also, second stage also comes in very handy during this mission, which you'll have to see here in a second. So one thing I want to know from you guys is, how do you like this speed? A, how do you like the speed for the this little playthrough I got going on? And B, do you guys want to see more building? Do you want to see less of the build and more of the flight? Or do you want to see, you know, just my standard procedure for takeoff and, you know, just kind of normal maintenance I do once I get to orbit? It's usually all about the same. Sometimes, this mission particularly, you get some interesting stuff on takeoff, but once everything gets settled and you get better parts and stuff, it generally all becomes redundant, I should say. So let me know in the comments, and while you're down there, drop a thumbs up. Maybe subscribe to old Sqroot. It'll make them real happy, and I can keep providing this content for you. And, you know, show me you like it. Let me know if there's any improvements you think I should make, and I would be happy to listen, because, you know, I'm here to entertain you guys, and I would like to do the best I possibly can. So I'm having to redo my design a little bit. I was gonna do something super ugly, and now I'm only doing something kind of ugly because I realized I was hitting my part count. So in the VAB, before you upgrade it, your part count is 30 parts, which with the small fuel tanks, you know, they really add up, and I'm trying to get this guy to orbit. So we definitely hit that. So here comes the fun adventure of trying to launch this guy. So without a payload fairing, aerodynamics are pretty rough. So that one didn't work out, and I knew what I needed to do. I looked myself in a mirror and I said, Sqroot, you gotta add 3 fins. So I took off 3 fuel tanks, added 3 fins, and everything went perfectly fine. Oh boy. Maybe they did not. Yep. So I thought, maybe I'm just a terrible pilot. Let's retry that one more time. Usually I won't show the failed attempts, but, you know, if you don't want to see the failed attempts, let me know. But this is my thought process going through, and everybody has mistakes. So here's where the true piloting genius of Sqroots comes in. And somehow I recover, and I realize, oh no, my apoapsis is way too low, and I'm out of fuel. So I decouple in the atmosphere, almost hit myself with my spent booster, and then right the ship and start burning. So thankfully, that second stage, super efficient, and had tons and tons of Delta V in it. So it'll be plenty for me to not only raise my apoapsis above it's not the Kármán line, because that's for Earth, but the Kármán line of Kerbal, and burn circular eyes once we're at apogee. Standard stuff. Once again, this is for people who are kind of familiar with KSP already. I can go more in depth, but it might make the videos longer, and I'm kind of trying to keep them shorter for you guys so you can be entertained in and out and go watch another one of my videos. A little bit of a cross promotion there. So I'm just checking out all the mods on my toolbar over there, making sure I know where they are and what they do. And really, I'm trying to get that persistent rotation off my screen up there, but I couldn't figure it out. So it's kind of covering up some of the more in-depth readouts up there, but you can make them out, I think. If you can't, sorry about it. So I try, and of course, in true Kerbal style, hit the launch pad on the way back. Looks like I didn't quite burn enough, but we'll see. And since this guy's light enough, he'll be able to survive re-entry. One thing I did forget to do is extend that antenna that I desperately wanted to get on there. So I extended it on re-entry for it to fly off in 3 seconds. So I indeed did overshoot. And 3, 2, 1, plop into the ocean. So here's past Sqroots for you. I went for flight control so I could get this inline stabilizer. It'll be really useful, and this micro gyros, also super useful for the upcoming mission and next episode. You have to tune in to find out what's going on. This science I really wanted to get to. It's got these ScanSat science items you can get, which add a ton of cool contracts, which I'm sure we'll go through. And these antennas, which really help with setting up this relay network that I want to get going. But in the meantime, we don't have it. So we got flight control, survivability, gives us parachutes and the pro cores, engineering, basic rocketry, gives me the swivel engine, and that's good to get stuff into low Kerbal orbit. Anything outside of that, it gets pretty difficult. Let's see, what else did I do? Upgraded launch pad, so it looks cooler. Upgraded mission control, so I can get more contracts, and upgraded vehicle assembly building, so I could get 255 supported parts instead of 30. You'll notice, I'm sure, Sqroots 5 minutes ago, but also past Sqroots, or future Sqroots. Future Sqroots is going to talk about this, but you guys heard him in the past. That's spooky. I kind of had to trim down that last mission I did because I was hitting the top of the part count. So it's critical that we upgraded that because I got a fun mission plan for the next time. So like, subscribe, comment if you enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it, leave me a comment and then like and subscribe, and then I'll see if I can fix your problems. Signing off.